That's a good water. Good evening, everybody. Good morning. Hello from Hong Kong. My name is Niki. I am coming from Russia, and apparently right now I live abroad. It's been a while since I uploaded anything about Russia the last time, and I thought it would be nice to give you an update. What's life like in Russia right now? What's happening there? And also give you an update on sanctions inside my country. So yeah, today's live stream, I'm gonna stay the next hour with you, answer any questions you have about Russia, either my life in or out of Russia. Feel free to ask any questions in the live chat. And if you watch me in recording, I think by the time when you watch it, I'll have time codes sorted out with all the questions that we received, so you can just see the description and scroll to the most interesting part for you. So yeah, hello chat. Let me know if everything is alright with the video, if everything is alright with sound. I'm staying at a hotel in Hong Kong, and I hope internet speed, like connection speed, will be not too bad here, although I'm not quite sure. Let's see what the chat says. Hello, Niki Proshin from Sweden. Sweden is here. Hey, I have no idea how to say hi in Sweden, but greetings from Hong Kong. Привет, Niki. Sounds great. Looks great. Sounds great. Alright. I'm glad. So the idea behind today's live stream is basically update you on what the heck is happening there in my country a week before I will upload a video about that thing. So basically I have one video in production. I want to show you what's life like in St. Petersburg at the moment, and I have a friend of mine who came back to St. Petersburg recently, and he will be filming some stuff for me, and I also share some of my observation about life there. So what I'm gonna say today and what you're gonna see in the next week's video about life in Russia, they're gonna be kind of complementary to each other. In today's live stream I'm gonna get deeper into some of the questions, and in the next week's video I'll try to just give you briefly the situation overview. I see a lot of highs, a lot of greetings from different countries every single time when I go live stream like that. I'm so glad to see such an international community. Greetings from Hong Kong. So next 5 minutes let's spend on brief update on where I'm staying and what I hear about Russia recently. So basically right now I am staying in Asia, same as last half a year since the day I quit Russia, which happened in last September. I'm staying in Hong Kong the last couple of days, and then I'm moving to Vietnam for a longer term with one simple idea. I feel that I don't have enough of a permanent or semi-permanent space for just doing my work, for just doing more videos for you, and I really started to feel more energy and more desire to share stuff again. I think it was about like 3, 4, even 5 months of kind of not doing too many videos for me. My channel now, I feel more energy right now. Feeling good that I have that and also have a lot of things to share with you. Talking about Russian people in Asia, in Hong Kong I see quite a few Russian people, although I never heard local people, I never heard Russian people talking anything related to Russia-Ukraine situation. So me sitting in this room talking to you about that thing is kind of very rare occasion in Asia. People don't really talk much about that here, even in Hong Kong. I talked to a few local people here, I introduced myself, I'm coming from Russia. None questions about Russia-Ukraine situation, like people just don't really curious about that there, but apparently from where you from, guys, people pay more attention to the current issue. Am I right? I see 262 people watching us right now. So glad to see you. See a lot of messages in the chat, and I'll start paying attention, like closer attention to the chat soon. So feel free to ask me anything related to life in Russia, whatever it is. Some questions I will try to answer my best. Some questions I will be not able to reply, but anyway, I'll see what you guys write it there. So far I see, oh, I see one donation from Roland. Thank you so much, Roland. Every single time when I do live stream or video premiere, you show up, you do that. Appreciate your support. Not only monetary, but also, I would say, emotionally, with all your messages. Appreciate, mate. Oh, greetings from Finland, greetings from many other countries. Awesome. So first of all, I want to give you an update on some subjective and personal impression of Russia that I got from a few friends of mine. Especially from one of my friends, his name is Dima. He showed up on a few of my videos in previous, in the last year. And he's also a Russian guy. He's coming from around St. Petersburg. He's been living in St. Petersburg recently. And last year in March, he left Russia. This year, a few weeks ago, or like a month ago, he came back to Russia because of some bureaucracy and also because of feeling of missing home, I believe. So right now he's staying in St. Petersburg, and he shared some really interesting observations on how life changed there. And his biggest observation is kind of nothing much changed except some minor details. So I believe for people who still live in Russia, or for people who came back to Russia recently after, let's say, a year of being outside, like I do right now, not many things changed except a little tiny daily life details. He specifically mentions that right now he sees a lot of advertisement about army everywhere around the city. At least that's fair enough to say about St. Petersburg. In the subway, outside in the city, people started to see and to hear more advertisement about army. Personally, I also saw that by the time when I was still staying in St. Petersburg, I saw were like big ad about good life an army soldier can get if he joins the army, like cheap apartments or even free stuff for them, support for the family, and so on and so on. And right now, I guess Russian government kind of doubled down on pushing such advertisement, attracting more soldiers to army. I don't know if that actually works or not, but there are more kind of advertisement like that in the city, according to my friend, and he will be filming it and he'll be talking about that. So I can show you exactly how it looks and feels like. And the second thing that he shared about life in Russia recently is basically life gets more expensive, partially because of the sanctions, also because of inflation. Like, inflation was always a thing in Russia. Every year life got more and more expensive there, while our salaries, our income of people in Russia stayed more or less at the same level. So it also will be really interesting to see the comparison between the same products that I filmed last year and that Dima will film this week. And for the ones who know the channel Dima from Russia, it's two different Dimas. It's not the same Dima. Yeah. I see a lot of questions started to pop up in the chat, and I believe that's the time when I just switch to the questions. And please, somebody who watches it right now, if you write the time of the live stream when I start to talk about a certain question, it will be a great help for me in the future, just putting the timestamps for people who will watch it as a recording. So please, if somebody can do that, please. Oh, by the way, Arcaneiro. Hi there, another friend of mine from St. Petersburg City. Yeah, I see a lot of familiar nicknames, and I see the first question pop up in the chat. Has quality of life gone down in Russia since the war or sanctions started? A question from Wolement. From my personal perspective, surely yes. The quality of life dropped down since the very first week of after Russia invaded Ukraine. Sanctions affected it a lot, and prices, they were just skyrocketing. And even right now, after more than a year since that day, prices did not come back to the same level. And apparently, when I tried to check prices for same things that I was getting before, everything got about like 10, 15, 20% more expensive, which might be described as general inflation, but the numbers that I see is, in my perspective, much more much faster than general Inflation. Some things they got even like 50% more expensive. Some things very little, but there are some things that got like 2-3 times more expensive. Typically things that were getting imported to Russia and right now got sanctioned and kinda disappeared from Russian market. Talking about groceries, I would say it will be safe enough to say they got about 20-25% more expensive if you were about to get about the same groceries as before. So many families, many people in Russia, they had to adjust either to do more work to support the level of life they get used before, or they had to basically get cheaper products. Fortunately, I should say fortunately, in Russia there's plenty of supermarkets that cater for the lowest like possible price categories, so people can literally spend much less than they did before if they don't have enough money to afford the same level of living. For example, the bread I typically got in St. Petersburg, I spent about 70, 80, 100 rubles per a loaf of bread, which would be on more expensive side in Russia. It's like $1.50 for a loaf of bread, for a really good one. But if somebody cannot afford that or started not being able to afford that, there are some supermarkets, for example, Fixed Price and some other, that can sell you a loaf of bread for as little as, let's say, 20 rubles or 30 rubles, maybe even cheaper, like 15 rubles a loaf. And that will be like quite bad quality product, but it's kind of possible. So from my perspective, level of life, quality of life in Russia dropped for people who cannot afford it. But if you can make above average, in this situation, quality of life actually stays the same. For example, if in St. Petersburg I make average or above average income, that will be about 70,000 rubles and above. Anything above 1,000 American dollars a month. In this case, my level of life will be actually staying about the same. And if my income will be double from the average, let's say $2,000 a month, then I will not notice any difference. Besides the fact that I will be paying a bit more, like 10, 15, 20% more than before. I guess most of people in Moscow, they don't really feel that drop of quality of life, and people from countryside or people from other cities away from our capital or away from our capital cities, Moscow and St. Petersburg, those people, they actually feel a lot more pressure. But again, it's just my personal perspective. I believe in the chart, at least, we have at least little amount of people who stay in Russia, so please, write what do you feel about, like, was life before better for you? Do you feel any drop in quality or stuff? So yeah, let's see what else do we have in the chat. And I see our lovely moderators. Hello Autumn, hello Alex, saying like, please be respectful. Yeah guys, please be patient, please be respectful. Today I see we have a lot of comments, a lot of questions, and I'd rather choose smaller quantity of questions, but go a little bit deeper into each of them, spending like 5, maybe a bit longer minutes to answer to that question, like we just did with quality of life stuff. Of course, I couldn't cover everything talking about that, but at least gave you some a bit better understanding of my personal perception. So yeah, also a request to my lovely moderators, if you see a really interesting question that you would like me to like spend some time onto, please just copy that question and put as your own message, because your nickname is basically blue and it's easier to notice it in the chat. So yeah, let's see what other questions do we have. And by the way, hello to almost 500 people who watching us live. Glad guys you're here. Dearest Niki, it's a scandal. This young person cannot visit his own family and Russian friends in country without fear. Ronnie Robin, it's not a question, but I'll spend a bit of time replying to that. because that's actually very big deal and very big issue. Right now, I believe more than 1 million people left Russia within this year, not this year, not this 2023, but within within this, oh, I don't know how to say it, like physical year, from exactly 1 year before. A lot of people left, and a lot of people struggle having homesick, seeing no family around them, and feeling that they not able to come back, having that fear of what if something happens if they come back. Technically, I can come back any given day. I can get a ticket, let's say I'm staying in Hong Kong, I can get a direct ticket from Hong Kong to Russia, not a big deal. But what happens once I come back? What happens if I get any troubles with Russian government? And even if I don't have any any content about Russia, I don't have my channel, let's say I'm just regular, like random Russian guy, just like my friend Dima from St. Petersburg. Just today he said that he enjoys a lot staying in St. Petersburg. He came back after a year of being absent. But yet he feels a big pressure on what if something happens, so he does not feel entirely safe about staying there, and he's like, I want to stay, I want to see my friends, I want to spend time with my family, but at the same time I'm thinking about I have to leave sooner than later. So yeah. Where are you now, Niki? I'm staying in Hong Kong at the moment, and I'm going to Vietnam in a couple of days. And Vietnam is gonna be my next semi-permanent destination. I'm gonna use it as my base. I'm gonna spend most of my time there, and also travel occasionally to other destinations. Any updates on your international passport? Hello, Dima dear. Another Russian person here. No updates yet. Once I have anything to share about my international passport, I will do that. For now, not yet. Have you given any thought to your homeland after Putin is gone? Oh, I feel that's gonna be the next question we're gonna talk a bit. What kind of leadership would you like to see? And that is a very tricky question. First of all, we are going to have elections next year. Next March we're gonna have presidential elections in Russia, and I have no idea how that's gonna be. Like, literally, Putin is quite old, and yet I have no idea if he is going to go for the next term of being a president, or if there's gonna be somebody taking his lead. No idea. What about expectations on the elections, on the Russia after Putin? I also have no big expectations about that. Literally right now, what's happening next after the next year, after this year, is a big mystery to me. And to be honest, one part of me, quite naive part of me, is being positive about what if after 2024, after all this madness and BS happening around, what if Russia might be turning to a better side? What if something happens and like we would have any big difference in the politics, in our government? But it's just tiny part, very naive part of my, a very positive part of my mind. I don't have any big expectations on that. I have no idea what's gonna happen after or during the elections. I feel that it's gonna be not a good time to be inside Russia, especially for anyone who does any kind of public activities. Most likely it's gonna be quite dangerous for any kinds of activists in Russia. I'm not one of them. The things that I do with my channel is rather just talking lifestyle and sharing some personal stuff, and very little has it any connection with public activity. But anyway, I'll be staying out of Russia that time, and I'll be observing what is going on there from afar. Yeah, what do you think, guys? Could we have any future Russia without Putin after the next presidential election, or do you think that he will be like going for the next election, like yes or no? There is a quick story about the only elections I've visited before. I've been studying political science in my hometown more than 10 years ago, or I think exactly 10 years ago. I cannot remember. It was either 10 or 11 years ago. So I was a political science student in Omsk State University in the city of Omsk, and there was elections for Russian parliament, kind of. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna go to one of the election areas and I'm gonna be an observer, kind of independent observer, not independent, from one of the parties, not from our leading party, from another one. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna see how elections works in Russia. And at that time I was even more naive and much more naive about stuff. And I saw a lot of BS happening during the elections, and that was the time when I kind of understood. I don't want to have anything in common. I don't want to deal with like Russian politics. I don't want to study political science inside Russia because I cannot actually learn it the good way. Anyway. Do you think that Putin is Putin or an actor? Oh, okay. I think Putin is Putin. I don't think there's a double that acts everywhere, and I think it's just a conspiracy theory, although during the last year we had quite a lot of like rumors. Not the last year, the last years we had quite a lot of rumors about Putin might have doubles and stuff. I don't think so. I don't think so. Unfortunately, I cannot read every single comment. They go so fast, but let me read some. Jessica Field says, I agree with you on the danger in the immediate post-Putin period, Niki. Kind of. I personally think there won't be a big danger, let's say for me personally, related to that, but generally a lot of BS, a lot of madness will be happening in that period of time, I believe. Marco says, which person would you want to be president instead of Putin? And that is a continuation of the previous question I was replying. So the thing is, I have no idea. It's like there's literally nobody could be a good president, a good candidate into a new Russian president right now. Most of, or all decent people who could be actually trying to go elected, they left Russia. And the ones who stay, I don't think they'll be actually trying hard on becoming president, because like they all see what happened to Navalny, they all see to what happened to a few other politicians who were opposing Putin, like kind of really opposing him, and those people just ended in Russian jail. Perhaps you don't hear much about them, perhaps the only person you hear much in the foreign news is Navalny, still staying in jail, still struggling, still being like suppressed a lot, but there's so many other ones, so I have no idea who could be a president instead of Putin next year. I don't expect anything good about that. Hello to 622 people watching us live. I'm glad you are staying with us. And the next question I see is, Niki, what is the level of your education? Do you plan on continuing your formal education? And what are your long-term goals? From David K. Griffin. Okay, I'll spend a bit of time answering that. So I said that I was studying. Oh yeah, and if I reply to this question, maybe you'll understand a bit more how could you treat my words, and how could you like rely on my words or not, how much you could rely on that. So first of all, my highest education is actually high school. I was graduated from my high school in 2011, and then I joined my university in the city of Omsk. I was studying political science. I dropped off my university in 2013 as far as I remember, so it's like 10 years ago, wow, long time ago. So I dropped my university, I did not finish my major, so I don't have a bachelor, I don't have a master. It's like the highest education I got officially is my high school. I'm not going to continue my university in Russia for sure. As for another major, perhaps someday in the future I might be taking that, but if I ever will be studying in a university, it will not be for having a diploma. I'm quite satisfied with what I have in life, and I'm not having any bad thinking about me having no diploma or having no major, no degree. It doesn't matter for me. It was not a big deal for me before, it's not a big deal for me right now. But I perhaps might be studying for something in the future, for some university in the future, for a major that attracts my personal interest. There are a few of them. So I don't have any plans for that, but why not to spend, let's say, 4 or 5 years of your life doing something interesting? Right now, it's not in my short or long-term plans, but I see that someday I might be studying perhaps in Europe, I might be studying somewhere in America, I don't know, maybe somewhere in Asia too. I used to like a few universities in Hong Kong. I liked a few universities in China as well, but I don't think I'll be actually doing that there. Anyway, as for my goals, the goals that I had before, the goals that I have right now, it's pretty simple. I want to have enjoyable life. I want to follow my dreams. I don't have any big ambitions on related to my career. I don't have any big ambitions related to money. I don't have any big ambitions to even this channel or anything related to social medias. The only thing that I see as my major goal is to be happy, to be a happy person and to enjoy my life. It has very little connection to what kind of career I have. It has very little connection to how much money I make. It has very little connection even where I'm staying at. And it has a great connection to how I spend my daily life and what kind of people are around me and what exactly I do day by day. As long as I can enjoy my daily life, I will be staying a happy person. And that's my biggest goal, to be a happy person. Additional goal, to make people around me happy too. That's what I'm kind of doing. That is something that is not seen on my channel. I kind of never share anything about that on this channel. Anyway, I see somebody just donated £5. Thank you, Easy A. He says, don't you actually believe Putin and his government was rightfully concerned in regards by its national security? I actually don't quite understand this question. What do you mean by concerned in regards for its national security? Honestly, I don't quite understand the question. But thank you for super thanks. Appreciate your donation. Oh, now I see so many messages, so many comments, and that's damn hard to reply to any of them. But anyway, let's see what other questions we have. And thanks to our moderators for picking the most interesting questions, so it's easier for me to react to that. Hi Niki, greetings from Peru. What do you miss the most from Russia? Oh, good question. Okay, real briefly, I missed a couple of things the most about Russia. First of all, I missed my mom and part of my family and a part of my friends. I would really love to see them and spend time with them. And fortunately, because of you guys, because of this channel, because of sponsorships I occasionally have under my videos, and also, I think that's even bigger thing, that's definitely a bigger thing, because of my YouTube and Patreon communities and people who support me directly on those communities, I can be more free at getting around and also making my friends and my mom getting around. So I haven't told it to my mom, and I don't think she will actually watch this live stream talking me in English much, so it's pretty much safe to say that without her knowing that. But I want to kind of organize her a trip outside of Russia to see me abroad, and thanks to Patreon and to YouTube members and to you guys just watching and commenting and putting that like button, clicking that like button. Because of you, I'm able to afford that. So yeah, I miss people in Russia. I also miss St. Petersburg. It is the most gorgeous, the most beautiful place in Russia for me. And last couple of years when I lived there, I fell in love with city, fell in love with a person from that city, and also got a friend and got a group of friends who still stay there, English, and I quite miss them. in the city too. So that's the things that I miss quite a lot about Russia. What kind of visa you gonna take to stay in Vietnam long term? So guys, if you want to stay long term in Vietnam, that's e-visa. Every 30 days applying for a new visa, leaving the country, coming back. Just a brief question about that. E-visa is good enough. Dear Russian officials, please stay away from open windows. I don't know why somebody commented that, but okay. Niki, have you got any siblings? Yes, Jennifer. So my mom and my dad, they are separate. My dad has his own family, and so he has 4 children. 4 children, oh my goodness. I'm the oldest one. My other sister, she is soon turning 19. She's 18 right now. My other brother, he is young. He is like about 20 years, about 18, 17 years younger than I am. And my youngest sibling, he is actually 24, 25 years younger than me. So it's like really big age gap, so I don't have that close connection to them. Sometimes I talk to my sister, not too much. Yeah, I guess have to talk like more often to her. So let me see any other questions about Russia. Do you recommend St. Petersburg for tourists? I live on the island in West Finland, so it's kind of close. Yes, I highly recommend St. Petersburg as a place for tourism. Perhaps not right now. Perhaps now it's not the best time to go. Although, if you as a foreigner visit Russia as a tourist, you'll be safe there. You will feel like no danger there. Just trust me about that. Unless you talk much about politics. Just pure tourists will not face any danger there. Niki, do you think if you stay in Russia and don't leave, you'll be now a soldier or maybe even dead? Question from Jens. And that is quite interesting thing to discuss, so let's pay next 5-10 minutes talking about that. And yeah, hello, over 600 people staying with me now. Greetings. So, if I stayed in Russia right now, I don't think that I would end up as a soldier. I don't think I will end up being dead at all. I might have some troubles with Russian law about that though. So, how to explain that? First of all, if a man, not only me, just let's say an average, ordinary Russian man who is healthy enough, who is between 18 and between 50 years old. Such man would be kind of qualified for getting into a Russian army if it is mobilization time, if it is time, let's say, like last September, October, November. That time so many hundred thousands of people were like taken. I cannot remember the number, but that was like so many people were mobilized. So weird my memory works. I know the number, I cannot say it aloud because I kind of forgot it. Anyway, so many people were mobilized that time. I could be one of them, but the thing is, any person who was about to get mobilized before and even right now, it's kind of easy to refuse going to army and face other consequences. Many people, they didn't know stuff about that. Many people, they didn't have proper education on their rights, so they ended up by going to army when they actually could avoid it quite easily. In Russia it works the way is that the earlier you start to refuse going to army, the easier it is. I mean, in Russia, they first... How do you get to army in Russia? They first send you a letter inviting you to an army department. As a civilian, you go there having that letter. Once you get there, they do medical checkups, they do all documents properly. After that, they invite you to the next stage. So there's the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. So it's quite easy to avoid going to the first stage when you are still being a random civilian. But once you get yourself to the first stage, once you get to the army department and have their attention to you, it will be more and more difficult to avoid going to the next stage. army department enrollment, then they will say you gotta go to specific departments. Then the next stage they say you gotta go to specific army divisions. Then that army division, the next stage, and the next stage, and the next stage. So the thing, if you just refuse getting the letter and going to the army department, you have to pay a fine of 3,000 rubles, as far as I remember. It was like that last September, when thousands of people were going mobilized to Russian army. They could just don't go. In the best scenario, nothing happens to them. In the worst scenario, they just pay $50, 3,000 rubles as a fine. Many people, they kind of didn't know about that. If I go to army department, if I don't use this opportunity to avoid it, but I go there, then the fine will get much bigger, and also you might face a danger of getting prosecuted and maybe even having some time in police and even going to jail. But only the farther you go in those stages into getting to army. So, coming back to the question, if I stayed in Russia before and right now without leaving, I will not be in army because I will do my best to avoid it. I believe it's better to pay any amount of money for fines rather than going to Russian army. It's better to have any kind of legal problems with a government or with police and stay some time in police department rather than going to army right now, personally for me. For a person who does not support the madness that is happening between Russia and Ukraine. So things are just like that. I hope I explain it at least more or less in understandable way. I don't know. I feel like I did it this way. I wanted to give you the impression that many people in Russia could be avoiding serving to army and right now dying in Ukraine if they actually tried to avoid that. But the thing is, it's different for me. I will not be in that situation. I would rather have some trouble with like legal side of getting into army or mobilizing into army. But a lot of people are not alike. A lot of people who live in smaller places, far away from Moscow, in provincial places, in provincial cities, in villages, in small towns, they have a different education about their rights. They have different perceptions about what they can do and they cannot do in legal area with our government. They are afraid to do stuff in legal area because they are not aware of their rights. And kind of ridiculous to hear about human rights in Russia for you, but actually laws, they kind of working in Russia. Like, they literally work in Russia. Like, for people who know their rights, they can stand up for their rights. Anyway, so for somebody who stay in Moscow, it will be easier to avoid getting to army because they just know more stuff about it. They have quite a bit better, even much better education about that. And you can see that through the statistics. No matter what numbers we have, like Russian government does not provide us too much numbers about casualties and about people who go to army or go to Ukraine to fight for. But we can see the pattern that people from St. Petersburg and Moscow, they barely go to the frontiers, they barely go to Russian army. The people who are getting mobilized, the people who die in Ukraine from the Russian side, are mostly people from provincial places, mostly people outside of Moscow and outside of St. Petersburg, somewhere from numerous Russian republics, somewhere from the Russian Far East, or just from small towns and villages. Because people from there, they have different reality. Like, I hope I explained that quite well. I didn't cover everything about that, but anyway, we spent quite a lot of time talking about it. And yeah, hello 736 people watching us live. Greetings, and let's see what other questions do we have today. Once again, I'm sorry I cannot read every single message. You guys write, and you guys... The comments you write and the questions you write are very interesting. I cannot just read every single one, but let's see what you guys write. One of my neighbor's cousin, who is 64 years old, was mobilized in Russia. From Trombone Cafe. Ooh, I will use this comment as little addiction to the little continuation to the previous question. So I believe that somebody could get mobilized in Russia being old or being injured or having any health issues. There were multiple, like so many cases like that. But at the same time, when a very old or very injured or very unhealthy person goes to army department after receiving a call to army letter, most likely that person is not going to serve in army. Like, I believe that 64-year-old man could get into Russian department, could get summoned there, but I believe in 99% scenarios that old man most likely will be turned back after documents check or something like that. It's like the army system in Russia is kind of messed up, like really messed up, but I still don't believe it's that much messed up, so 64 years old man, nearly a pensioner, will be really like serving there. Like, I believe it might happen that he get summoned, but I don't really believe that he might be ended in, let's say, in the frontier, on the front lines. Anyway, Roland Friedrich, the second donation today. Thank you, my friend. He asks, do they draft gay men in Russia? And, like, yes? I think somebody who would play on that, who would use it as a joker card to avoid going to army. I think it's possible to avoid going to army showing up that you are gay and doing any other activities like that. Just making some noise about that. But if you are a gay man, and if you don't make any noise about you as a gay trying to avoid going to army, if you're okay with going to army, then yeah, Russian army just drafts them. Like, I believe there are a lot of gay men serving in Russian army, but of course they have to be not showing it too much, not showing it to people around them, and rather keeping it as a secret. It's my personal perception. It's not 100% like sure information, but I believe there must be a lot of them in the Russian army. Have you learned what happened to the mobilized women? There were hundreds and then we didn't hear anything else. I'm not quite sure. There might be mobilized women who have some kind of professions who should be suitable for like helping soldiers, improving the army. I honestly did not follow what is happening to them at this very moment, so cannot reply to that. There are definitely some women to be mobilized, let's say doctors, cooks, chefs, any other professions that could be utilized to help Russian army, but have no idea what is happening to them at the moment. And oh my goodness, once I thought about that, I realized that it's been such a long time since I actually tried to learn what is happening to people who got mobilized, what is happening to Russian army at the moment, because since long ago there is no big news about what's going on there between like Russia and Ukraine. They're kind of staying at the same spot, fighting over the same territory, which does not attract a lot of attention from general public, which is actually a terrible thing, because yes, there's like no big changes in terms of where like Russians and Ukrainians fight with each other, and no big updates on like the territories taken by any sides, but yet there's like people struggling and people dying there, and like it's kind of difficult to think about that. Anyway, think I'll go turn off my air conditioner and come back briefly. So go drop more questions and I'll see what's gonna be the next one. And also please give me an update about the sound quality and about the video quality. Half of the live stream done, about 40 minutes. So yeah, let's turn on the AC and I'll come back. Oh, welcome back. It's gonna be a bit more louder, but I hope not too much disturbing. Niki, your sound and video is amazing. Oh, I'm glad to see that, because I'm kind of struggling with connection speed and connection quality while being a traveler in Asian countries, but anyway, apparently today is good enough. So sorry for background noise, but anyway. This was a super chat. Are you considered a refugee? Oh my goodness, I didn't see this super chat. Whoever sent it, appreciate for your donation. And also, answering to your question, I don't consider myself a refugee. And sometimes people introduce me, oh, that guy is like a refugee from Russia. Like, I met my local friend. He is a British person, living in Hong Kong for over 20 years. Shout out to Peter if you watch me right now or as a recording. It was nice seeing you this time. So Peter, that man, he introduced me as a refugee from Russia to a stranger we were having dinner together with. That happens in Hong Kong randomly. And I was like, wait a bit, I don't think I'm refugee. Actually, I'm more like just a Russian who decided to leave Russia. For me, a refugee is more like a person who not only was pushed to leave his or her country, but also who struggles about that a lot. I'm not struggling about being away from Russia. Yes, I miss my country, yes, I miss people who stayed there, but I don't struggle from being away from Russia. I never planned to live my entire life inside Russia. I actually spent my 20th, most of my 20th, I spent abroad. Like, I quit Russia when I was 20-ish, more or less, maybe 19, 20. And I came back only when I turned 26. That time I came back to Russia. From 26 to 28 years old, I stayed inside Russia, so 2 years. And now again, I am outside. I don't think I'll be... Not don't think, I know for sure I'm not going to live in Russia for any foreseeable future. And since I turned 20, I never wanted to actually stay in Russia for a lifetime. I enjoy traveling there, but don't want to live there. And for me, it's a big difference in defining that refugee status. Like, I don't feel I'm being a refugee. I'm just another Russian person, or not even just another person who does not want to live in his country and just wants to find a new home abroad. No matter what kind of political issues I had in Russia, I wouldn't like to live there anyway. Like that. I don't know, maybe the fact that I left Russia earlier, like half a year earlier than I planned, makes me a refugee. I don't know, grammatically, like if it is a grammatical meaning, if that's correct meaning of the word, okay? But personally, I don't think about myself that way. More of asylum seeker. Also, I don't see myself an asylum... oh, that's a difficult word. Asylum seeker. I believe I pronounced it correctly last time. I also don't consider to be an asylum seeker. It's like, just like Asia. I like Asian part of the world, and I see my life partially or mostly living in Southeast and Eastern Asia. Would you call yourself a travel vlogger? From Kelly King. No, I am not calling myself a travel vlogger too. I don't want to be a travel vlogger because yet I love traveling, and that's what I do a lot, and that's literally the biggest passion of my life, to travel around and to see different cultures, to see different lifestyles. I don't want to see myself as a travel vlogger because the way I see it is somebody who vlogs about every travel experience the person has. I don't want to have a camera with me all the time. The way I do it now is, yes, I do vlogs from different countries, like uploaded vlog from Korea, I filmed a vlog from China, Shanghai, and also tomorrow I'm going to film a vlog from Hong Kong. But it's just small amount of trips that I have around. It's not a travel actually. It's more like lifestyle in various countries. Vlogs, lifestyle vlogs from different countries. I don't want to have my camera all the time with me. I don't want to spend all the time thinking about, oh, I should film this, or I should have this shot, or this will be looking really cool. I actually want to experience the travel, the journey. I want to be in closer connection of what is around me when I travel. I want to pay my full attention to people around me when I travel and to life around me. So no, I don't see myself as a travel vlogger, but I do see myself as a blogger or content creator or YouTuber or even TikToker, because I do have TikTok channel. Even though I am more active on YouTube, I still do some videos for TikTok, rarely, but anyway. Yeah, hope that's understandable. Oh, I see, Loudmouth Rudy sending a super sticker for 10 bucks. Appreciate, mate. Thank you so much for your super sticker. Yeah. I see 754 people watching me live. We are going to have about, I expect about 20 more minutes, 15 more minutes for this live stream. That is as long as my computer will be like having battery. So yeah, let me see other questions we have here. What country? Okay, so we continue with personal questions, and actually let's do where is that? Let's do a poll. Start a poll. I have a question for you. What kind of questions are you more interested to listen right now? More personal questions, like about me as a Russian being abroad, about my experience of living abroad, like visa stuff, country stuff, and so on, or questions about what is going on there inside Russia. So I'll know what kind of questions to pick until the rest of this live stream. So, what kind of questions to pick? More personal and more Russia related. Ask community. Okay guys, so there is a poll showing up in the live chat. Go. I'll have half a minute to see, and then pick the next question. And so far I see a lot of people like being curious about Russia itself, and I think that makes sense, because every single time when I do live stream I talk more about personal stuff, and perhaps it feels better. It's like, personally, as a real person, I feel when I see a question that relates to my personal life and my myself, I'm like, wow, it feels so good. Somebody is curious about me. Somebody is curious about my lifestyle, and I have that kind of little boost for my ego and stuff. But also intellectually, I realize that you most likely are interested to hear more about like details on Russia. So I think that's what I should be paying more attention to. Sometimes I do my personal stuff, but today I feel let's talk a bit more about Russia. And what I feel about it is more or less what I see as a result in the poll. 60% more Russia related. So let it be. Let's do more Russian related questions. And thanks to Terry Hildenbrand for another super sticker. Appreciate for your support. Cheers with some random Chinese water. Rights in Russia, that is hilarious. Suzanne Armstrong, that is kind of hilarious, yeah. But there is a thing that, yes, it's hilarious to talk about human rights in Russia, but actually, laws kind of work in Russia. There are a lot of so bad laws that make life in Russia miserable, but some laws kind of alright, and if you know that you are rightful to do something, not related to politics, just for daily life, just for relationship between you and not government but any other institutions, then the law works kind of fine. Yeah. So let me see, what questions do you have else about Russia? Whoa, that's a lot of comments right now. And another super sticker. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate your support. How are the roads in your hometown? What a nice question from Stefan Vasil Yonita, if I read your name correctly. So the roads of my hometown are total BS. There are some good ones, but also the roads in any provincial city, even a big one. My city has more than 1 million people living there. The roads can be better. Yeah, it's like, I'm not a driver myself, but every single time when I was taking a bus or a taxi or like any of my friends driving me, I can feel that roads are not that good in my hometown. There are some good ones, there's a lot of BS roads. But what I can say about my hometown that is complete BS is subway. My hometown, Omsk, is so good meme material for many things. But one thing stands out, is our subway. We have a subway project that is older than me. I'm 28. The subway project in my hometown is older than me. We have a metro bridge, like, you know, metropolitan metro bridge. It was built quite long time ago. We have that. We have a bridge named after subway. We have a subway station. Subway station named after Alexander Pushkin. Yeah, Pushkin station, Pushkin library station. And that's all what we have about subway. Billions, I don't know, maybe trillions, I'm not sure about trillions, but billions of Russian rubles were literally buried into just underground of my hometown over 20 years, like maybe even over 30 years already. No result, no subway, no. So it's like good meme material and illustration of how sometimes things work in my country. Yeah, anyway. Thanks to the left tech cat. Appreciate for your super sticker. Speaking on roads, we heard infrastructure repair has been put on hold, no street potholes getting filled, etc. Heard anything about that? No, I haven't heard anything about that, to be frank, but it's kind of logical thing for small cities. In Moscow, in St. Petersburg, it's not like that. Moscow, St. Petersburg, they have so high budgets, so life goes on there. They still, like, roads in Moscow, so good. Real good. In St. Petersburg, kind of okay. They still being developed well as perhaps some other cities, like, I don't know. But small places, I'm pretty sure that their budgets are being reduced. Yeah. Ooh, YouTube just gives me a notification that after it, I never seen this notification, but it says 50 seconds later, advertisement will run shortly for some viewers. If it happens to you after 50 seconds, just watch it. Yeah, just watch it. Are the money going into oligarchs' pockets? Yes, Cheryl, I think so. Not only in Russia, around the world, any kind of war is meant to profit the minority of people, not the majority of people. So any kind of war kind of benefits oligarch, no matter which country it is. Let me see what other questions do we have. Do you think it's fair to hope for a better Russia if people like yourself don't even have enough strength to stand up against Putin regime, even when safe abroad? Question from Nick Usalis Knight. I think it's fair. I think it's fair to hope for that. I don't think it's fair to expect a positive and a better future for Russia if you don't do anything for that. But I think it's fair enough to hope for that. Personally, yes, I don't do much for any changes for my country. I don't feel like it. I don't feel that it would be good for me and my future. But I still hope that someday Russia will turn to better. Personally, for me, I also don't connect my life, my future with Russia, so it makes even less sense for me to do any public activity inside Russia. Anyway, what else could I say about that? It's like people who do have any public activity and who oppose Russian government right now, staying inside Russia, staying outside of Russia, but especially staying inside Russia, they are exposing themselves to really big danger. It's like if you are doing anything anti-government right now inside Russia, it's so easy to get your life literally fucked up, and that's not what I want for me or any of my friends. And logically thinking, if nobody would be doing anything, how would a country turn to better? Yeah, that's right. There is no way a country will turn to better if nobody will be taking any action. And yet, for me personally, I'm staying away from Russia. I don't connect my future with Russia. The only reason not the only, but the biggest reason why I talk about Russia through all these times is I do like my country, I do like showing a part of it to foreigners, and I also see there's a big demand from people to know what's happening there inside Russia. That's the biggest motivation for me to talk about that. I don't know, does it make any sense for you, the things that I say right now, or does it sound stupid or naive? Go, comment about it. Oh, I see some green nicknames here. That's my YouTube members coming here. The blue nickname is the moderators, the dear moderators who help me sort out stuff in the chat and keep chat a friendly place. Please be good, behave well, guys. And the green nicknames, they are YouTube members, people who support me through our communities. And I saw Bob appearing in the chat a while ago. I saw your message. Let me see. Oh, here it is, Bob Weber. His question is, if so easy to avoid army, why did you leave Russia? Oh, that's a quick question. I'll reply to that. So it's easy to avoid army in Russia. Yes. It's getting more and more harder, and that's something that I talked about last month. Of course, I didn't know about those changes the time I was leaving Russia, but I was kind of, what if someday it will happen? It happened sooner than I actually expect, but anyway. So that's one of the reasons. I thought that someday, eventually, it will become more dangerous to stay in Russia, so I'd better leave right now. And second reason why I leave Russia, I already said that I didn't see Russia as my place of residence for the entire life. I don't want to live there. I want to live somewhere in Asia. I'm so fond of Asian part of the world. That's where I'm staying right now, which I'm pretty happy about. And another green nickname here is Somebody Said. Both of them have purple crowns means that they are members for over 6 months. Wow, thank you so much. And Bob, and thanks to somebody said. I'm thinking you started to major in political science in college. Then after 2 years you had internship in Russian government and got a clue and got out. Not quite like that. I didn't have internship in Russian government, but I had some summer projects in those elections, kind of summer projects, just joined the elections. And I also had summer activity working with some local election and near election activities. And that's the time when I got a clue and got out. Some of my most of my classmates from a political science major in my university, they graduated, and only a few of them keep working in the political science field, and I believe they don't really like it, but that's their career at the moment. Anyway. Yeah. Interesting question from Rohit. How are Russians staying outside of Russia considering that getting visas is difficult? Every case is very individual. And I believe that might be one of few questions, one of the last questions I discussed today. My laptop has 11% battery. I cannot charge it more because the only cable is connected to my camera right now, so it's literally unchargeable without disconnecting the live stream. So, a few last questions. So, how do people stay abroad? We do have visas, and different countries offer different options for Russians. For example, Georgia offers 1 year visa-free, which is super good, and that's why Georgia became a destination for so many Russians. For example, you know Roman No Fuckers, NFKRZ, he stays in Georgia, and he made a video talking about his visa situation there, so you can find that video and watch that if you want to understand his personal case about getting visas and living there and stuff in Georgia. The thing is, no matter which country you go, there are possibilities to stay long term. Personally, for me, I can either stay somewhere as a student. I can find a job and stay somewhere, let's say in Georgia, in Turkey, in Thailand, even in China, in Korea, even in Japan, in Europe, in the States. It's just the question of getting a proper visa and a reason to stay in that country. So, most of Russians who seriously want to live abroad, they find their ways. Sometimes they find proper job and have working visa for long term, and they get permanent residentship in the country they stay, and in the future they even might get a residentship, a real residentship of that country, change a passport. Some people, and I'm on this side, I'm a part of the second group of people, they kind of haven't found a place for longer stay. Oh wait, there's somebody. So, Lin Ho, thank you so much for a super sticker, appreciate. So there are people like me who move around and stay on tourist visas. Let's say next country I'm going to is Vietnam, and I'm going to stay there quite long term, but I'll be doing e-visas that last 30 days. How it works is, I get one e-visa, electronic visa, that lasts 30 days. Once it's finished, I have to leave the country, I have to come back with another visa. That's totally fine, it's legal, it's alright to do that. The only thing, you cannot work in that country having that visa. I cannot do any legal business, I cannot have any income from within the country. Having it from online, let's say from a YouTube channel, it's kind of alright. But I cannot have any revenue from inside the country. Let's say I cannot teach Russian, I cannot teach English, I cannot do many other activities. And yet many people do actually do that, which is not really legal, but in many countries people get away with that. I would not recommend it though. I would recommend, if you want to move abroad, do it legally, find a proper way to obtain a proper visa. Fortunately, being a content creator and having online revenue from YouTube, I have more freedom in getting around and having no income from within the country. I go Vietnam, have zero income from the country. I mean, from Vietnamese people. Anyway, so many people, they do like that. They just have shorter visas, travel around, live in one place for, let's say, half a year, do visa runs. That is the term for you going outside of the country and coming back to the country simply for renewing your visa. That is a visa run. Very popular in Asia, not very popular for America or European countries. Niki, you seem to prefer being in autocratic countries. I prefer to be in Asia, and most of Asian countries, they are not purely democratic, right? Yeah, I like Asia. I don't care about political regimes. I just like Asia because of the daily life here, daily flow here. I don't get in touch with local politics at all. The Left Tech Cat sending another super thanks and asks, do you think damage to Russian economy will be end of Russian space program? Honestly, Russian space program is not very impressive. They do stuff, but it wasn't really impressive compared to what I see, let's say, in China or in the States. And I wish Russian space program will be developing, and I don't think the damage to Russian economy will be the end for Russian space program. They still have to be able to get resources if they have a good person leading the space area of the space thing of Russia. But so far, it's not been very good. It's not been very impressive. Philip sending another super thanks. Thank you. I'm getting a bit tired of speaking English like that, so I think that's last 5 minutes here, and my laptop says it's only 6% charge. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Philippe says, hi Niki, greetings from my town, Desert Hot Springs, California, USA. Thank you, Philippe, for supporting me this way, and hello from Hong Kong. Greetings. And I see a huge donation from Kel Norton. Thank you so much. That is very generous of you. And in Hong Kong, even in Hong Kong, super expensive place, $50 is big money. Appreciate. Peace and happy travels from the USA. Glad you got out of Russia. Thank you so much for that. And once again, greetings from Hong Kong. It's literally midnight here. 12 minutes past midnight. I'm not sure if my hotel has good walls or soundproof isolation. Nobody's staying in that direction. There's no rooms after mine. But the room behind me, I hope they are not bothered by me talking to camera this loud. Anyway, Tiffany Chris, thank you so much for your super sticker. Oh, today you kind of sent a lot of super thanks and super stickers. I want to say thank you guys for joining. Thank you for doing and supporting me this way. Also, thanks and hello to all 700 people who are staying right now. And thanks and hello to anyone who watched me in recorded. I want to say last 10 months were kind of rough. Not the roughest. I'm having kind of privilege in thinking less about finances because of my YouTube channel and your support, but still leaving Russia not on the time when I planned to, and being around and moving around was, from the one side, very entertaining, very interesting, and very good for my personal growth and stuff. But from the other side, it's also not the easiest thing to do. And having your support and having so many people genuinely interested in me personally and in the stuff that I have to share about my life and about Russia makes me and makes my life kind of, I don't know, a bit easier. Thanks for being with me. If you want to support me on a larger scale, consider joining my Patreon and YouTube communities. Tomorrow, by the way, I'm having the postcards sent to some of the tiers. Literally tomorrow I'll be sending postcards to over 30 people. Need to do a lot of writing. And also, the next week we are having community meetup every single month for my YouTube and Patreon members. I do personal Zoom meetup, so feel free to join. I'll really appreciate if you do. My laptop has 3% of charge right now, so it's a final word for today's live stream. I hope it was interesting for you to hear that. I hope that was not a waste of time for you. If it was not the waste of time, please go comment what you particularly liked about that, not in the live chat, but as a comment, so I can see it after the live stream is ended. I can like see it and I can reply you back. Also, please, somebody, if you have some time, could you please write the time codes of all the questions, or at least some of the questions that we have answered in today's live stream, so I can put it into the description. I usually do it myself, but sometimes I miss interesting stuff. And if you do time code and something interesting happening in that time, please write, I'll put it in the video description. It will be useful for many people. Last minute here, thanks Tobias for another super thanks. Quick question, when you come to Sweden? Ska! I don't know what does ska mean, but hi there. Sweden and Europe and America, it might be coming next year or next year. I will update, I'll get a new international passport by this year, and then I'll be free to go places, more places than before. I'll be okay, bother myself with like applying for European visa and American visa and stuff, but for now I'm kind of stuck in Asian side of the world before I get a new passport. It's not like I'm complaining about that. I like Asia, I'm happy here. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks to my lovely moderators for being here and keeping the chat well. I'm so sorry I could not actually reply all the questions. I just see there's a new feature, start a Q&A in YouTube. I never seen it before, I never used it before. I just saw it just 10 minutes ago, and maybe next time I'll try using that. But anyway, appreciate you coming. It's midnight here in Hong Kong. Go like the video if you haven't done before. If you find this live stream insightful, comment, and please consider joining my YouTube or Patreon membership. Thanks so much. I see people saying bye-bye. Bye you all. Thanks for chat. Stay safe, everyone. I don't know why, but La Valencia says beans and sending beans emoji. Have no idea what's that for. Bye, Niki. Bye, Niki. Later, Niki. Bye, mods, and everybody's being so nice. Alright, everybody, bye-bye. Have a good day. Have a good night if you stay in Asia. And end of live stream.